Hey, how's everybody doing? Right after this is the show that I told you I would do for you, where you write in, you give me questions, and I'll give you answers. And I would really appreciate it if you would give me a like and subscribe on this channel. I need 1,000 likes and subscribes. There's no cost. There's nobody notifying you or bugging you unless you tell the bell to ring. You don't have to do anything, but if you want to really support me, I need like and subscribes. I don't know why I have thousands of views, but not likes and subscribes. So if you could do that, it'd be awesome. So do it. Okay. I'll be right back. Hi, everybody. Welcome to One Day to Love. And this is Tanya Walker. I appreciate your being here today. Thank you all for your questions and your voicemails and your messages. I'm going to get to as many as I possibly can today and try to keep this as interesting as possible. Talking about myself doesn't exactly make me feel real excited, but what the heck? You said you wanted me to talk more about myself in my interviews, and I tried, and I just it came easily for me, but I just still felt like I really should be listening more than I'm talking a lot more. So I decided if you wanted to see that I would make a show like this once in a while. So that's what I'm doing. So I sent all the different subjects out all over social media with a lot of my friends and fans who are helping me with that. Shannon, I want to shout out, and Christian, I want to shout out to him. And Ashley, I want to shout out to her. There's just so many wonderful people that are supportive and are trying to get me out there. So thank you. So anyway, I gave you a list of a bunch of different things you could ask me about. Pretty much everything is okay. And so let's get started.
Anya is your good friend and loyal cohort. Well, Batman is Kristen. I told Shannon I was going to say something corny like that, but I'm a corny person, as you know.
So am I.
That's just going to happen. Now, my question is going all the way back to 1990. You were on a very special episode of Oprah with yourself and several other very beautiful, famous soap actresses, including Canola Hughes, Charlotte Ross, Amelia Marshall, Terry Headley, appeared on a Love Connection style game show that Oprah had set up.
Right.
I would love to hear about the filming of that. You guys were being paired up with famous athletes at the time, and you ended up with Troy Aikman. So I'd love to hear any details about the aftermath of that, the Oprah of it all, the Troy Aikman of it all.
Okay, so yeah. I had just come back from being the Azalea Queen in Wilmington, North Carolina. And which I had to do. I when they first called me for it, I said my pageant days are over, and I really appreciate the offer. But I hung up the phone, and ABC called and said, "What did you say to them?" I said, "Well, I just told them, I was 1980. That was not 1990." So they said, Lindsay Wagner did it last year. Sharon Wyatt's done it before. There's big people talking. And I said, "Yeah, okay. Well, it's insulting to them if you don't do it." I'm like, "Oh God, I didn't mean to do that." So I just came back from that, which was really fun for me. But I also had a boyfriend there that had put this in motion when he'd met me at a benefit in New York before this. So there I was with a boyfriend, and they fixed me up with Troy Aikman. So, and it wasn't like they fixed me up, the audience fixed me up with Troy Aikman. It was the dating game kind of thing. So we couldn't see them, they couldn't see us, and they asked us questions from the audience. The audience would tell them what to ask us. And anyway, I got Troy Aikman. And I was so happy about that because I'm the biggest football fan. I don't know if you know that. The biggest football fan. My daddy was a coach for the high school team when I was really little, and I was the mascot when I was 3 years old. For the football team, I spent a lot of my what they would call TK years, in a little skirt and a little sweater with a LV on it, standing there with the rah-rah pom-poms with the cheerleaders and on the football field. And we had a lot of football players at the house. I just feel really comfortable in that environment. So anyway, I didn't go out with him. And I flew back to New York and I went to my friend Jeffrey Mason's retirement party when I got there, as soon as I got there, because he was one of my best friends in the world and he was retiring and they were having a party across the street. So I go in and Dennis Swanson, who's the head of daytime, nighttime, and sports at the time, sees me come in and there's a sea of people. He sees me come in the back door and he's up at the podium and he says, "How is Troy Aikman?" And I was like, so mortified. I said, I didn't go out with him. Why not? I have a boyfriend. He's the $7 million man, Tonja. And I was like, oh boy, it was embarrassing. And at the same time, it was kind of cute that he was an older guy, was like being a fatherly figure and caring about me and all that. That was really nice. But anyhow, wish I had more of that now. Anyway, it was really, really fun. But I didn't go out with him. Okay. Let's see. Michael.
Hi, Tanya. This is Michael. I'm a big fan of your work. And when you were on One Life to Live, when you first came on, it seemed like they were going to put Alex and Bo together. And I was wondering what your thoughts were on that and how you felt about Alex kind of going off the deep end. I was rooting for Alex and Bo. I thought they would be better together than him and Cassie.
Yeah, thank you. They were putting Bo and I together, and it cost me $10,000 to move there, and they only gave me a $3,000 moving allowance, and I had a beautiful apartment, and I was really, really happy, and my producer got fired. When you go on a new show, and I've heard, because I've looked into it, I'm very into politics in America and patriotism and finance and how being treated well and having people treated well and the public treated well, etc. And I've found out that this happens everywhere, not just in my business. So when the new boss comes in, they clean house. And that's what they do on daytime television. And I don't know what they do on nighttime series because I've just had pilots. I've never really done one on a regular basis. But in daytime, they look at the people that are not absolutely ensconced first. And I'd just gotten there, you know. So they thought, we'll kill her off. So we'll put her in a crazy house and we'll have her try to kill Cassie, and that's what we'll do. And that's what they did. And I kept trying to play it in such a way that people would understand that I was in a lot of pain, that I wasn't just a nutball. And I've always tried that because I know the power of the public, at least the public that I knew. They used to have a tremendous amount of power. And if they wrote in and they called in and they did a big campaign and they really wanted you back, you got to go back 90% of the time. Now, because the audience is so diminished and spread out over so many other things that are going on, it doesn't work so much that way. I think it still does, but not to the degree that it did. There were only 3 networks. There were 14 shows. Each network had a handful. And if a bunch of people said they weren't going to watch this one anymore, then hello, So that's what happened. And I had been on a 13-week, 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 13-week cycle and been waiting to see all the time if they're going to pick me up for another 13 weeks, even though I had moved there. They gave me a 2-year contract, but they can still let you go if they give you enough notice. So I went to home for Christmas, and the phone rang, and it was ABC, and they said, "Linda Gottlieb wants you to come back." I said, "She does?" And they said, "Yeah." And I said, "That is great. That is really great. And here's what I need to make, and here's the amount of time I want guaranteed to me because I can't live like this anymore every 13 weeks with this stomach. So I was so lucky to get that. They said they only gave that to people that had been there a long time. And I said, well, I've worked for the network a long time, because I'd been on General Hospital for three years or so, and 4 years, and now this, and I just couldn't live that way, you know. Um, and it worked. Now, while I'm asking for all this, my mom is in the kitchen going, what are you saying? What are you saying? Just take whatever they give you. Just take whatever they give you. Just and I'm just not gonna do something that's gonna make me sick to my stomach, um, and live on pins and needles. I couldn't do it. So it turned out really, really well for a long time. And I was very grateful for that. So anyway, so Bo ended up with Cassie. And then I got to go back several times, which was cool. Um, I still wish I would have been able to have an actual, you know, relationship with Alex and Bo. I think it would have been really fun. I saw the fun he had with Hillary. Um, that was awesome. I love what he had with Hillary. Um, but you have to create that. You have to want to do that. Both people do. And so they did a great job together. And it turned out I ended up with Carlo Hesser, which was unbelievable. The greatest opportunity I've ever had on a show. I'm working with Josh Griffiths and Michael Malone, and they gave me so many great things to do that were just totally unusual and really, really fun, as you know. I got to play all kinds of colors, all kinds of stuff. Just great. And so, yeah, it would have been nice, but I think it turned out better. And Asa was fun. Asa was fun too, always. Okay, that's that one. I got to make this faster, I think. All right. Ashley Morgan. Here we go.
My name is Ashley Morgan. My question for you is, do you keep in contact with anyone from your time on General Hospital? Thank you. Bye.
Well, yeah, I do. A lot of it is on Facebook or at the fan club things or on the phone, but the phone, like actual calling people and going out to dinner. I'm friends with Tristan Rogers' wife, Teresa. So we correspond quite a bit. Kimberlyn and I talk a lot. Ken Schreiner and I communicate. Usually it's on what do you call it? The little messages, whatever. It's just a strange thing that you can't just stop by anymore. Um, I mean, I used to stop by even when I wasn't working. I'd stop by and say hi to everybody, and you can't really do that anymore. It's really weird. I think it's only like that in California because it's a sanctuary state when they want it to be a sanctuary state, and it's a take your rights away state when they want to take your rights away, when they want you to, lock yourself up because you might get sick or like whatever. I'm not a big fan of that at all. So it seems very what's the word? It's hypocritical to me. I can't go see people that I know are well, that I'm well, and I want to know, we don't want to take any chances. Were you taking chances before? Wasn't everybody, I mean, I just don't understand, but I can't just go by and see people anymore, which is nuts. That was the beauty of being like, if you were on MASH and you went to the set where they did MASH and you were on MASH, you'd go see Alan Alda. Like, no way you'd miss it. But it's just not like that now. I can't even stop by CVS anymore. It's just crazy. I wanted to go see Kate, and if I want to go see Kate, then I've got to call her and bother her and all that jazz. And it's crazy. I'm really good friends with so many people. I mean, Jess Walton was like my sister when I lived here. And Beth Maitland is just I'm just a huge fan. Torsten Kay and I work together. I've got the biggest crush on John McCook that anybody's ever had on anybody except me and Hugh Jackman. That one's still a little bit bigger, but that's about it. Okay, thanks. And Ashley's done a lot for me too. Okay, now I've got some on the other page. Okay.
Hello, Tanya. Good day to you. I just saw this message or this idea on Instagram. I had a question. If your parents, who you love very much, had difficulty, extreme difficulty experiencing romantic love, do you believe, or is it possible that children from these parents will also have difficulties experiencing romantic love, not friendship love? I remember asking somebody, a counselor, somebody, and I asked them straight out, do you believe some people are destined to be born not to experience romantic love? I've experienced wonderful friendships and things like that. But romantic love, and I've had intimate relationships, but romantic love is one of the things that I've not experienced. And I believe that some people may be born may be born destined not to experience romantic love. Based on the family they're born into, or whatever. So that's my question. It's a difficult one, but it's something I've thought about for years.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I I've had a lot of therapy, but I'm not a therapist. Do you know what I mean? So I've listened to so many people with relationships since I've had this show. But I know that Elon Musk is different. I know that JD Vance had problems in his family, with his family of origin. And it was really important to him to meet somebody and fall in love with them. Elon's really close to his mom, but I'm not positive what the details are with his dad. But I just know that when people come from homes where their parents don't get along or there's a lot of fighting, according to Nadine, who I did have on this show and Run Like Hell, she was the one that was married to Jordan Belfort. She's a doctor. You can end up in trauma relationships with trauma bond issues if you've had trauma in your life before when you're a child, but you can also create it by being with a trauma bond expert like a narcissist. So my guess would be that you can find romantic love. It's just it might be a fantasy that you have. It might not be as the way you see it in the movies. Maybe you've had the same feeling of, if you've had intimate relationships, the same kind of love that other people have, that they call romantic love, and it isn't like the movies. What's in the movies generally doesn't last. I have to tell you that. It's a way that God made us so that we would fall crazy in love with a person, get married and have children and populate the planet. And then he kind of took that down a few notches so that we could focus on the kids. I think it's supposed to be like that. And so when you want to be romantic with your partner of a long time, it's not the same as it was at the beginning. And I swear to you, I think that's ingrained in the way God intended it to be. So I hope that you fall madly in love with somebody and you do have romantic love and you do have a wonderful life with somebody. And it's never too late. That's one thing that I have learned. It's never too late. When you think you're never going to feel it, you can. You can. So good luck with you. Let me know how it goes. Okay. Let's see. I have another page of these. I printed some of them out. Let's see what I got here. There, I read that. I did that one. Okay. Oh, Shannon sent this to me. What is different about how the soaps are shot today versus back in the 1990s? Seems to be a faster pace. Well, basically everything comes down to money, you know? And back in the 90s, they were making money hand over fist. It wasn't really until, and I've talked about this before, the O.J. Simpson trial, where our loyal viewers went to the television and we weren't on, or we were on. We were on in Alabama, but we weren't on in California. We were on in New York, but we weren't on in Texas. It depended on when the live feed was going to come through and disrupt the programming. And they put that on. And people watched that. And so even in the OJ movie, I'm sure you've seen it, you know, the Marsha Clark OJ Simpson movie. And they have one scene, I think, in there with the people from Procter and Gamble, people acting as if they're the people from Procter and Gamble saying, hey, you know what? ABC's getting higher ratings than we are, and or whatever, CBS is getting higher ratings than we are, one or the other. And maybe we shouldn't broadcast. Maybe we should cover the trial. It's a lot cheaper. So that's what happened. And people got, after 21 days, they say you can break a habit. I think it might be more than that. But to get a habit or break a habit, you have to have 3 solid weeks. That's one of the, I don't know if it's a myth, but it's pretty well known. So people had that, and they started getting angry. They go to the TV and it wasn't what they wanted it to be. So they found something else to do. And that really hurt us a lot. That really hurt us a lot. It really wasn't the internet as much as it was that, because these habits were ingrained in people for generations, for decades and decades and decades. But they didn't respect that as much as they respected the immediate ratings from this short-term situation. And if I were in their shoes, I don't know what I would have done. So I can't really blame them. It was a lot cheaper, you know? So that's what happened. How do you feel about the new show, The Gates, coming to CBS? I think it's great. I think it's absolutely great that they're going to give a soap opera a chance, a new one. I mean, that's fantastic. Since everything at night now is a soap opera, all the series, you have to, last week on SWAT, you know, maybe not SWAT, but last week on everything else, you know, all the medical shows, the police shows. I love the Dick Wolf shows, how they go from next to next. You don't have to have seen it before, but if you have, you know, the relationships that they have with one another. It's fantastic. I think Dick Wolf is a genius. I'd love to meet him. He's amazing. He just left for the longest time. I thought, oh, he's retired. He comes back and now he owns, what is it, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night? I mean, it's just, I don't remember which night it is, but I watch it. I tape it and I watch it, and I love his stuff. If you could play a character one more time, who would you love to play, Alex or Olivia? It always depends on how they're going to write them. You know, it's really hard when you go back, like I did with Olivia, after 26 years, and it's not the same character. Anything that had happened previously was not, no one cared. And the part that kept me on the air and not getting killed off was the fact that people could understand what she was doing from pain. And yet she would never get her hands dirty. And they had me standing there with a gun in my hand for like an hour and a half on the bridge. You can't have your gun in your hand that long. You look like a doofus. If you're going to shoot him, shoot him. If you're not going to shoot him, don't, you know. Now you're going to watch TV and you're going to see people standing there with a gun in their hand. You're going to laugh, and you think you're laughing. The person that's holding the gun is crying on the inside. Anyway, so it depends on who's writing it. I would go back to play Alex or Olivia anytime if the person writing it is going to, you know, be as great as the people were that were there for the many years that I was on before. That was a blast. How was it working with Harry Lennox on Destination Heaven? If y'all haven't seen it, you can get a free week on PureFlix. You can get it through Amazon. It's a Great American Family Channel thing. And I don't know, it's just wonderful. It's just good, clean, fun, um, really funny. This one was really funny. And God is in all of them. And Harry Lennox plays God, and he does a great job. And Doug Jones, who was in The Shape of Water and 1,000 other things, does the best job when you actually see his face, because you actually see his face because he's not wearing latex like he is in Discovery and all these different science fiction things that he's very well known for. Great sense of humor, so funny. And he's going on the road. And I just sent him something the other day, and I said, I want to have you on the show and talk about your tour. But his tours start right soon, like September 1st or 2nd or something like that. So I'll post about that. And he does too. I think it's actor Doug Jones, at actor Doug Jones. I could be wrong, but I think that's what it is. All right. And Harry Lennox is at Harry Lennox. Do you plan on doing more PureFlix agreement? I do, because I can't. I mean, I am not a right-wing person, but I am not a left-wing person either. I'm a conservative person, or I'm a what used to be called a moderate liberal. That there just don't seem to be anymore, unfortunately. And I'm always hoping that it comes back. I mean, I hear Bobby Kennedy talking about it all the time, and if anybody knows what a moderate liberal is, it's him, you know. And I would have voted for him in a second too. I listened to what he had to say, and I thought it was fantastic. But I've never seen the country in the mess that it's in now, and I would never continue this for my family or my friends or my parents. I mean, it's a mess. So they're getting on TV and saying how great everything is. I don't know who these people are. Maybe it's great for Oprah. Maybe it's great for Barack. Maybe it's great for Chuck, but it isn't great for me. It isn't great for most people I know. People say, well, Trump said this and Trump said that. Trump ran the country pretty well. You know, we were all doing okay. And a lot of people of color had a better life under Trump too. I know that because I have a lot of friends who are various nationalities all over the world. And the world used to make fun of the things he said. Sometimes you would hear that, but they respected him. They were nervous about him. And we'd have a safer world if it was him, I think. And it isn't because I'm a big lover of his. You know, I'm not a big Trump. The way he talks to people makes me mad, and it hurts my feelings, and it makes me want to jump through the TV and say, shh. But the policies of the Conservative Party are the policies I want in my life. I certainly don't want to be taken to jail or made to let my kids or my grandkids get drugs in school because they are confused about their puberty, which we all were, and end up not being able to have kids anymore. If because they won't tell the parents that the kid is having troubles. It's just crazy to break up families like that. You know, if you're having trouble with your kid and the teacher doesn't tell you, I'm going to sue them to Timbuktu. You know, so there's a lot of things that go on, and including this green energy thing. You know, we jumped into it without being prepared. And you can't get rid of all the oil and gas in the world. You just should not. Should not. You shouldn't make people drive us anything. You shouldn't make people in a free society do anything. If you want to pay for your 1967 Thunderbird, or I think the 57 was probably better, then you should be able to drive that car. And if you know, if you have to pay more in gas tax or something, well, then you pay more in gas tax, but you shouldn't be made to feel like a criminal, you know? And if you don't want to stop every couple 300 miles to wait for your car to get electric charged, you don't want to do it. And once it's really a one size fits all, and we can live the way we want for as long as we want, wherever we want, then little by little, we can take things back, you know? But I don't believe everything that I hear. And I've talked to a lot of scientists who say that, global warming really isn't the problem. Sometimes it's the ocean getting a little higher. So we have things we can do to mitigate that. There's a lot of people that have a different opinion that you never hear. You never hear. It's certainly not an existential threat. What's an existential threat is what's going on in the world right now because we weren't strong enough to stop it, in my opinion. So it scares me. I may have to take this part out too. All right. This is Alana from New York. I would like to know what it was like working with Phil Carey, who played Asa. If possible, I would love a signed photo. Well, of course it's possible. I'd be happy to send that to you. Alana from Great Neck, New York. I love New Yorkers. Well, working with Asa was like working with a legend. He had worked with the Duke. He'd worked with John Wayne. And sometimes I think he thought it was John Wayne. But we all treated him kind of like that because he demanded respect. And he had a very nasty habit of pushing his glasses up on his nose with his middle finger. And if you're in the middle of a scene with somebody and they do that, you it's a little intimidating, which was the point. And at the same time, there were many, many times he was good to me. He was supportive of me. He appreciated me, thought I was good. And if he didn't think I was good, he wouldn't work with me at all. So that was a compliment. And it was a situation where I was very grateful to have an opportunity to learn whatever I needed to learn from Phil Carey. And that was great. What are your secrets to learning lines? This is from Morgan Rogers. Well, yesterday I had an audition, 8 scenes that I was working on for 12 hours. By the time I got the script, printed the script, found a reader, memorized the lines, got dressed, got ready, got the reader over here, fixed you have to have a sheet that's bigger than you can ever even imagine because they have to have this plain wall because you have to do everything at home by yourself. Now it stinks. It really stinks for me. And they want a horizontal slate. So they want the camera like this, okay? And they want you to stand in the middle. So there's all of this wasted space on both sides, but they want to look like the TV. So when you put that out on your camera out there, and you try to get yourself in the center, but the picture has to be like 25 feet wide. It's like a 25-foot wide plain wall. And I don't have one of those. I mean, I had many 25-foot walls when I had a 12,000 square foot house or more. Not now. So it's just not something you find much in California. So I put up a sheet, really huge sheet, put it on the ceiling. It takes a lot, and you do it. And I found a new learning lines app called Cold Read. And I had used other ones before, but what happens is if you put in all the words in your scenes and you mark reader, myself, then the machine, how does this happen? The machine, the tape plays, the app plays the other person's lines, and then you know your cue because you've been looking at your script. So then you say it. And then when they hear the end of your line, which it recognizes, then it gives you the next line. So you can, that's one way to do it. Before we had all this, when I started out in 1980, we didn't have any of these things, and I don't use them much now, actually. I like to just put my hand over the scene, the one before, the lines before, and I just keep going down. And first I put them all in yellow. I highlight all my lines and put them all in yellow. And then I go back and find out what my motivation is. And I know that sounds corny. So in my experience, you say, what is the action verb in this scene? Is it intimidate? Is it interrogate? Is it pull the wool over the person's eyes? It's got to be an action phrase. I read an article. This is from Morgan Rogers. I read an article where you mentioned a little bit about what happened on your first day filming at One Life to Live. Can you tell us about it? Okay, so my first day filming, I'd come from the #1 show on television, which was General Hospital, daytime television. And I'd gone to the #5 show on daytime television. And I didn't think it was going to make any difference at all. And I didn't realize, because I hadn't done any daytime. I worked for John Conboy on Capitol at the beginning of the 80s. After I did a lot of nighttime movies and stuff, because I worked all the time, but I was always afraid I wasn't going to get to work. And after my father died, I really wanted to make sure that I had a check. So I also was afraid any minute now they were going to figure out that I didn't know what I was doing, because I just guessed all the time. I have instincts, and was that I was a natural, don't take class. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. So, John Convoy was on the floor all the time, and I went to One Life to Live, and we'd have a dress rehearsal, and then the producer would leave and go to Vermont. So we're in the middle of shooting after he's gone, and one character missed a line and the other character missed a line, and it was my line, and I said, cut. And I'll never forget it. And over the PA system, the director said, why did you do that? I said, because everybody messed up the line and the scene wasn't going to make any sense. So I just thought we should try again. This is my first scene. I don't want to look like a moron on my first scene. My cue's totally different. My line isn't going to make sense. Okay, so we did it again, and it went just fine. And the next morning I got called into Paul Roush's office. And he goes, actors on my set don't say cut. But you weren't here, and you would have said cut if you were here. I wasn't here, and actors on my set don't say cut. I said, it was going to be awful. Actors on my set. I said, okay. I apologize. I'm sorry. And that was my first day on One Life. But I had a great time anyway, but it was really nerve-wracking, because we would have immediately stopped on General Hospital and done it again. End of story. So I just wasn't used to proceeding with errors, I just really wasn't. So, but they do really well after, with or without me. So I guess it's fine. I just, I said cut. Okay. What has been your proudest moment professionally, whether a scene, accolade, or moment in general? When I got nominated for an Emmy Award, because I was teased so much growing up, and I was hassled so much growing up. I was called Frizzhead, Tonja On Tonja, Godzilla, Fatso, everything. And yet, they couldn't shut me up. So when all of your peers vote for you and say you're good, there's nothing that feels better than that. I don't think, when the audience does, it's amazing. But when your peers nominate you, it's also amazing. So that was my proudest moment professionally. If you had to pick your personal theme song today, what song would it be? I'll have to think about that one. What is your dream role? Well, I got to play portions of my dream role when I was on General Hospital. We did Basic Instinct. We did Fatal Attraction. That was a blast. Anything that Glenn Close ever did, I wanted to do. But I think Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf is a part that I'd really like to play. I think that would be awesome. And something like Sybil, where you could play so many different people in the same person and tie them together. I think that would be great. And then just to do a sitcom and make people crack up, I would love to do that too. But one hasn't been created quite yet. But I really loved Home Improvement, and I loved her part on that show. And there's a lot of shows I think are funny. I always thought Roseanne was really funny. I don't think All in the Family would make it now. The Lucy Show was really funny. The funniest, probably. Carol Burnett, the funniest. So I'd love to be on a show that was just funny, you know. Classic OLTL YouTube channel is currently uploading full episodes from 1991, pretty much daily. So I've been watching those episodes. And it's when Stephanie first came onto the scene. Do you have any memories to share of the late, beautifully talented Robin Griggs? Yeah, she was my friend. I can't believe she's gone. I can't believe she died so young. On the set, she was always a consummate professional. She wasn't liked a lot by my character, but she was loved a lot by me and Tom. And she's one in a million, really, really talented person, and sweet, kind, generous person. Feel really bad that she's gone. My dog wants to be on TV, obviously. Love to hear any fun memories you have of Zac Efron and the late Bill Cobbs while filming the Derby Stallion. I think I'll have to get to that next time too. Levi, currently living in Maine. You've already had such amazing guests on the show: Lucy Arnaz, Kate Linder, Robert Palmer Watkins, to name a few. Who would your ultimate dream guest be for One Day to Love from the world of entertainment? Phil Donahue died last week. And I interviewed Phil Donahue when I had my show called Straight Talk Live with Tonja Walker at WSTC WLK in Bridgeport, Connecticut, that also went into New York City and Sanford. And I just loved him. I interviewed all the guys from The Sopranos. Vinny Pastore was a joy. I ended up singing with him at certain times. He has a band he puts together. I've been very lucky. I interviewed Don King, who was actually the not the crazy haired guy that I helped roast. There's a letter up there about that at the Friars Club. But my husband was in Liza Minnelli's wedding. That's Liza Minnelli's letter. Thank you, gift for the shower present. I'd like to have a lot of these people on. I don't know how to reach Liza anymore, and I don't know how to reach Michael McDonald anymore, but Michael McDonald sent flowers to Ed's funeral. We met him years ago when we bought an auction item for a charity where he was going to come to your house and perform. And we got it for United Cerebral Palsy in Ohio because we were on the board. And I knew that I knew what the budget was. And so I said to my husband, I said, let's bid this auction item, having Michael come to the house, up to that amount. And then, of course, they'll want it, and then they'll pay us back. He goes, okay, that's fine. And we won. And it was awesome. And so Michael McDonald came to Cleveland, but we didn't play for the United Cerebral Palsy because it turned out that the man in charge thought it would be better to get the Ohio State Marching Band for this gala event. I don't know what people are going to dance to, but I said, well, let's come up with a charity. So we came up with something called Partners for Potential, where we helped put people of color that were being teased for being smart. They were called Oreo cookies and different things like that, which is just disgusting. And I've got a real soft place in my heart for people who are teased about things. So we had a huge silent auction and at our house, and a regular auction at our house, and we had a big tent in the front yard, and Michael McDonald came and sang, and it was one of the best memories of my life. Ed and I sang together. We did "We'll Have an Old-Fashioned Wedding" from Annie Guitron. Yeah. It was really, really great. So I'd like to get Michael, I'd like to get Liza. I'd like to be able to reach these people that I haven't seen or talked to in a long time. And I'd love to do some political interviews. I'd like to talk to Mike Johnson and find out why he isn't looking into the FBI more. Why isn't he doing something about the weaponization of government? Just different things, you know? So maybe someday I'll get to do that. I have a feeling I might. So we'll see. Back to Bulge. Christian. He's so funny. Do you have any memories of Ryan Philippe during his time on One Life to Live as Billy Douglas, playing TV's first ever openly gay teenage series regular? Before Glee, before Will and Grace. Yeah. One thing that Linda Gottlieb was great at is coming up with an idea that's new and different. And I don't know if it was her idea or not, but she was the producer at the time, and it became huge. The blanket for freedom of rights, freedom to love who you love and marry who you love, and no matter what. And to bring that into a young person's life and have it be okay. It was very painful, I'm sure, to play that, but it was really well done by Ryan and Chris, and they did a great job. And it was a different show then. It was really a different show. And I just thought it was great. So that I was very excited about being part of it for that. There's so many more questions. I just don't have enough time to get into all of them. I got hit on by somebody in North Carolina. You know who you are. Don't do that, please. Okay, so what was your favorite part? What did you like the best? What do you think of the election? Who are you for? Why are you for them? I'd like to have that conversation on a different show, and I may very well do that. In the meantime, I'm excited about the Gates. They're doing a new soap opera on daytime TV, and it's going to be great. I'm really excited about that. And I'm excited to hear what you think of this. What I might do is take some of the questions that I've got left and edit them into a segment in the regular show. And we can have that just until I finish these up, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do after that. If you have thoughts on this show, I would really like to hear it. So you can text me at that number, or leave me a voicemail on that number. I would prefer a text, because otherwise I have to turn my phone off, because I can't turn just that line off. So a text would be great. And again, that number is 917-267-2930. And tell me what you thought. Give me your real honest feedback. And I can't wait to see you again soon. I've got some great people lined up, so I'll let you know who they are soon. All right. God bless. Take care. Bye.